unity.
Yeah, how do we deal with these oddball Republicans? And it goes in both directions. Well, far left or far right or far moderate, whatever you want to call them. How do we get them to be? How do we get the Republican Party to at least operate as well as the Democrat Party and stick together and get something done? It just drives me insane when I see these arguments going on.
Well, we've got a problem that the Democrats don't have, that there are many of us that believe in party over, policy over party, and or country over party. And so sometimes you just have to stand up and say no. But there are times when if you stand up and just say no and are unwilling to compromise toward a solution, which our government is set up to be, a set of 435 House members, 100 senators, that compromise to a way forward that protects the liberties of our country, the freedoms and opportunities of our country, and the limited government that ought to be in our country. And that's Republicans. That's not Democrats. They're willing to accept anything that's party over country, even at times, because party is the most important, and limited government isn't their mindset. It's larger government. So we have that challenge. But I would encourage, in talking to Republicans and Democrats, as your listeners do, depending on who represents them, to talk toward basic principles. We have to make the tax code less confusing, less onerous, less large, and bring the taxes down in rates that would encourage growth in the economy that not only includes the general economy, but each one's personal economy as well. And so to look at a tax rate, for instance, of 15, 25, and 35, it gives opportunity for all that to take place. And so I would make sure that you contact, regardless of a libertarian or a conservative Republican or a moderate Republican or a Democrat, that you talk along those frameworks and saying, this is for the good of your citizens and gives opportunity for this country to expand and get back to a place that is self-supporting without government controlling everything that goes on.
Right. Tim, there's a guy, former radio host, Bill Bennett, and I've met Bill, I know him, and he's spoken highly of Paul Ryan, and I've given Paul Ryan the benefit of the doubt, much to the concern of a lot of my conservative friends over the last couple of years easily. And we're coming up on the whole thing with DACA right now. And if there's one thing conservatives have been upset about, it's been the executive orders, the immigration freebies that Obama was giving out, basically the lawless behavior concerning immigration in a number of areas, obviously. And now Trump's supposed to do something about DACA shortly, even Tuesday, I understand. And yet Ryan is asking him to hold off so that now the House can come up with some way of accommodating all the dreamers so that they can codify what Obama did illegally. And that is a very frustrating concept. And I wonder about the motivation for doing that. I understand that you're in a position, I think most of our listeners would understand, that as a member of the House of Representatives and the Republican caucus, that you have to deal with Ryan. He's in a position of power. If you want to get stuff done, you've got to not upset the guy who's, the head of the organization. And at the same time, I'm finding it, and a number of people are finding Ryan very problematic on issues like this. What's going to happen with DACA and why?
Well, it remains to be seen. Right now we're hearing that the president himself may be extending DACA and extending it at least in a partial fashion.
Well, that's the opposite of what I heard, that he was actually going to cut it, and Ryan was asking him to let it alone until the House could deal with it.
And see, that's the challenge of getting the news and getting it accurately. The president is wrestling with that, I know for a fact, in the communications that we've had. Ryan wrestles with it not from a position of wanting to violate laws or not to go after some of the crazy things and illegal things that the president did, President Obama beforehand, in suspending even rule of law at times. He has to deal with 435 members, but more importantly, get at least 218 members of the Republican conference that aren't made up of all rank conservatives, but you have moderates from New York and California, as well as ultra-conservatives or libertarians from other parts of the nation as well. So Paul has the responsibility to tell Mr. President, tell you what, there are several key things we have to get done right now, not the least of which is the budget, not the least of which is the debt ceiling issue, and with members that want to also exact some benefits and changes from that to get our fiscal house in order again. But there are a number of other things that we have to get accomplished. So let's pick our emotional battles as carefully as possible and see where we go from here to live another day to fight the additional battle that comes on. That's what Paul Ryan is talking to the President about, and I think they're having very solid, productive communications. Paul has oftentimes explained to us that he and the President have been working together behind the scenes very well and continuously, numbers of times during the course of a week in contact by phone or in person. And it's just the battle right now of trying to change all that we have to change. And again, if you look at the record of what the Speaker and the House Republicans have done, we've not let the American people down on anything so far. We've done everything we said we would do and sent it to the Senate. That's where the breakdown has been. So you have to consider that as well, how in the world you work with a Senate in such a way, you get it to the President's desk, because in the end, nothing changes unless the President is able to sign it. So I think that's what you need to keep in mind. The President has to consider very carefully what he does. The leader of both houses have to consider what they do in order to get the votes and count the right number of votes in the end to get what's necessary to the President. So what's priority for the issue you want to take on first?
Yeah.
Do you take the low-hanging fruit first? Do you put something in the way that makes more controversy and causes people to say, well, I'm not going to vote on this unless you give me assurance that DACA won't go away, or I won't vote on it unless you tell me DACA is going away. So that's the Solomon's sword battle that Paul Ryan has it sometimes.
Yeah, let me. We've got Ken from Livonia's got a comment about Obamacare. Derek, do you want to bring him on? Keep it short, Ken. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to quickly comment on two topics that I've been hearing during this discussion. One regarding Obamacare, and I'm calling because I know I represent a lot of voters. I want Obamacare repealed but not replaced. I had health care. I was paying for it out of pocket before Obamacare, and it was taken from me. The replacement option is something I couldn't afford. Well, the problem is with the Republicans, what they want to do is basically keep most of Obamacare. So I do not support replacing it. Let's just get rid of it and go back to the way things were. That's my first point. Second point, you talk about Kid Rock. Now, I'm a Bible-believing Christian, and I could never vote for a libertarian because of their views on abortion and on drug use. And I know there's a lot of people out there like me who could never vote for Kid Rock. So why am I hearing people talk about Kid Rock like he's the next savior of the Republican Party?
Well, you're not, because he hasn't even he hasn't filed yet, Ken, number one, so let's not even go any farther with that discussion while we've got Timmy.
Hey, by the way, Ken, happy International Bacon Day.
Yes, everybody, happy International Bacon Day, and have a BLT.
Thank you, Ken. Take care.
Well, Ken,
Right.
Ken brings up the issue. That's the challenge. There are plenty of us, and you can't just say Republicans all want. Ken's wrong on that. Ken's immeasurably wrong on that. The majority of Republicans would love to repeal, but you got to deal with getting the 218 votes in the House and the 51 votes in the Senate to get something to the President to sign. That's the challenge. And so the fact that we didn't do what was necessary to keep Obama from getting elected the first time and then keeping him in the second time, and it was our fault. We didn't get it done. We saw how we could get it done with Trump, but we didn't get it done before. You don't change 8 years of bad policy in less than a year.
Yeah,
you don't get it done.
Yeah.
And you don't do it unless you have those 218 votes. That's what we're going for. I would love to repeal it.
Yeah.
I don't think government should be in health care.
Okay. Well,
live with what we got.
Yeah. Well, Tim, thank you so much for calling in. And unless you want to stay over.
Can you
I'd
stay?
love to, but I got to get to my niece's wedding.
Okay. All right. Tim, we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
People are always on the move, driving to work, hauling the kids to practice. How do they keep up to date? They listen to Wham Talk 1600 just like you. If you're a business owner, your message can reach these people wherever their travels take them. People tune to Wham Radio for intelligent conversation with hosts like Joe Pags, Glenn Beck, Tyrone X, and Dana Lesh. And they'll stay tuned for your message as well. Call 734-971-1600 today and advertise your business on Wham Talk 1600 and whamradio.com.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. More emergency flood control needs doing in Houston. That prompts a warning from the mayor.
2 reservoirs are undergoing controlled release. That released water is going to flood several thousand homes for the next 2 weeks. The mayor is saying if you're in that flood zone, you have to get out.
It is creating an increasing strain on our first responders when we are asking them to cover the entire 640 square miles, when they are now in the process of going door to door.
The mayor is also asking for $75 million. That's just for debris cleanup.
Fox's Steve Harrigan. President Trump and First Lady Melania now getting an up-close and personal view of the flood damage. Many victims still waiting to be rescued.
Yesterday, we spent the day with FEMA going door to door in an area south of Houston, and we watched people who were still inside of their homes.
Fox's Matt Finn. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Your bridge to recovery and wellness is Wellbridge. Wellbridge is redefining the rehabilitation and nursing care experience with the most amazing care facilities you've ever seen. All Wellbridge locations offer a resort-like atmosphere, and their driving goal is to provide each guest with an epic experience. Here's former patient Evelyn Danielson from Brighton.
It was excellent. It wasn't only just the physical part of it, doing your exercises with them. It was the RNs, even down to the kitchen people that came in and said, "What can we fix you? What do you like? We'll try to do it for you." And everything with a smile. I couldn't get over. I would heartily recommend Wellbridge.
For rehabilitation and nursing care, ask for something epic. Ask for Wellbridge. In Brighton, Fenton, Novi, and Pinckney. Now looking for talented nurses and certified nurse assistants to join their growing team, Wellbridge invites everyone to learn more about them at thewellbridgegroup.com. Wellbridge, your bridge to recovery and wellness starts here.
It's been 5 years since we met Kelly Brighton, just before her weight loss surgery.
I was almost 300 pounds. Because of the Michigan Bariatric Institute, I've lost the weight. I now have the tools to keep it off. I'm a better mom, I am a better wife, and I'm just a better Kelly Brighton, I think.
Begin your journey. Try a free monthly educational seminar at St. Joe's Livingston. Visit stjoeshealth.org/MBI to learn more.
And welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to Catch Our Drift. Joining me in studio, Ed Bonderenka.
Hey.
And I know we didn't get to all the questions for Tim that we wanted to, but we'll see if we can get him on a second time this month. Maybe we'll text him up.
And if you come up with some questions, let us know. If you want,
absolutely.
Have some stuff you want to ask us.
If you have things that you want us to ask Tim, you can always email me, Gary, at thedailydrift.com, and you can reach Ed on Facebook, and you can reach me on Facebook, and Twitter, at Gary Daily Drift, and you're on Twitter at
Ed. You
don't even remember. How is that possible? You're not on Twitter enough if you don't know your handle, brother. That's all I can say. All right,
Senior moment.
Anyway, let's take care of our sponsor this hour, AAA Service Network. It is fall, whether you want to believe it or not, and it is time for you to get that furnace fired up probably in the next month.
I fired it up this week. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's terrible.
It's my wife.
I'm going to live with the cold as long as I can before I turn it on and start giving money to DTE. That's for sure. But if you want to get something done on your house, be it hot water tanks, your furnaces, your air conditioning, anything, sump pumps, you name it, water softeners, AAA Service Network can fix it for you. 1-800-FIXITNOW.com is the website, 1-800-FIXITNOW.com, or you can call 734